समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या? समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.
In this era of trade deals or trade deal negotiations between the rest of the world and the US, we know what's been going on, or maybe we know a little bit of what's been going on between India and the US, and we will know by Monday where this is headed, because July 9 is the deadline when Trump's 26% tariff on India kicks in, unless he puts it off. However, on that day, on Pakistan, a 29% tariff will kick off. That's why the Pakistanis are also there for trade negotiations. Now, also see the difference. The India-US trade size is now getting to be close to $200 billion. $200 billion, that is merchandise and services, all of it together. With Pakistan, it's about $10 billion. Just merchandise with Pakistan is 7.4. Merchandise is important because merchandise is the only thing that draws duties, what we call as duties, what the Americans call tariffs. Because as I keep saying again and again, why are services not tariff? Because services don't cross a border. So it's like whether you take something in your suitcase, go past the customs will charge you. But if you send the same thing on email, for example, if it was knowledge, if it was an article that you wrote, right? Or it was a piece of advice that you gave somebody for a fee, that has not crossed a border, that will not be taxed. I'm trying to put it as simply as possible. Pakistan's stakes on trade are high for them because Pakistan's overall trade is very small. And Pakistan's exports to the US, small as they are, relatively, they can't take it lightly. Among the delegates for negotiations, of course, as you would expect, is Pakistani Commerce Secretary Jawad Pal. But most importantly, it has Pakistan's crypto minister. Pakistan's crypto minister is somebody about whom we spoke in detail just the other day. I will share that link with you. Bilal bin Saqib. Bilal bin Saqib, as we told you, was listed once by Forbes magazine as among 30 under 30 globally. He is supposed to be a crypto whiz kid or a digital assets whiz kid. He is an advisor to a company called World Liberty Financial, which was set up by Zach Witkoff. Zach Witkoff is again in his 30s, the son of Steve Witkoff, who's a special envoy to Donald Trump and also a real estate buddy of his from New York, from Manhattan, who's his special envoy to the Middle East. You can see how important that is, but also to Putin. Personally, he's been visiting Putin on Trump's behalf. His son floated this big crypto business, and Zach Witkoff's company, World Liberty Financial, where Bilal bin Saqib is an advisor, that has signed a crypto deal with Pakistan government. So you can see how interconnected these wires are, because this also tells you that this is a network of multiple conflicts of interest on both sides. I don't think the Pakistanis care. At some point in America, somebody will start worrying about this, because all said and done, that system of checks and balances is much more robust than Pakistan's. Trump, as we know, has been promoting the idea of crypto. In fact, the entire cryptoverse loves Trump because Trump is a disruptor and Trump believes in crypto. Trump also would like to challenge the idea of fiat currency in a way, which I don't know how this squares with his idea also of keeping the dollar strong. Nevertheless, this is Donald Trump. He is the biggest feudal in the world. How the Pakistanis are now trying to deal with him is, as one feudal deals with the other, except in this case, as one much smaller feudal deals with a much bigger feudal. So that needs a lot of salam, presentation of tributes, right? And a lot of flattery. How is that happening? That's happening with a combination of three things. One is crypto, that look, we'll invest into your crypto, we believe in crypto, we've set up a crypto minister, and that minister is so powerful that that minister is also an advisor on your crypto company, the company with which the Trump household is connected, because Steve Witkoff's son founded that crypto company, and Trump's son, Don Jr., is involved with that company with investments, etc. And that friendship is so close that Zach has named his son also after Don Jr., Donald. That is how close those families are. It is all very feudal. What does Pakistan bring? First, they bring crypto as part of their tribute. When a chota feudal comes to a big feudal, bring some gold, some ruby, some jewelry, maybe a few elephants, maybe 100 horses or whatever. That's how tributes are presented. Then they also bring tribute by way of a future promise that, look, we have all these minerals, we have copper, we have gold, we have these old Rico Dick mines. Of course, never mind that there is an old litigation on. And just now, Pakistan's state-owned enterprises have put up $900 million. Starting in 2022, $900 million is a lot of money for an economy the size of Pakistan. That was compensation to a Chilean firm, Antofagasta, which was a partner in exploiting this mine, out of which very little, if anything, has come out as yet. There was also a Canadian company, Barrick International. That company is still there. The rest of the equity is now being picked up by Pakistan's state-owned enterprises, as they call their PSUs, public sector undertakings. While all that is going on, nothing else exists as yet in that area, Balochistan area, which is a proven mineral reserve. The rest is more academic right now. In fact, I will share with you the link to a report by US Geological Survey. It's a 2025 report, but based on data available till 2020-21, that does not talk of the availability of lots and lots of critical minerals in Pakistan. It also talks about the availability of gold and copper, more copper than gold. Essentially, it's a copper mine where some gold comes out. And this happens with many mines. If you see in Udaipur, for example, in that area, in the Hindustan Zinc Limited mines, a lot of zinc was mined from there for a long time. Then, as a private operator, in this case Vedanta, got into the act, they bought this company. With modern practices and better efficiencies, they found that along with zinc, they were also being able to mine a lot of silver from there. So sometimes you get this collateral gain from the mines. But once again, all that's proven is this gold and copper, even from the best Pakistani estimates, it is valued, and this is a Pakistani minerals report. It's estimated, the value is estimated with 100% exploitation, with 100% extraction is estimated at $60 billion. $60 billion over 37 years, right? So it isn't that much minerals. However, the promise now is that, look, you come there, look at that landscape. Doesn't it look like this kind of land will have a lot of critical minerals? And there is some evidence of antimony being there. Antimony is used, say, in rocketry, engines, etc., etc. More than that, as yet has not been found. However, the Pakistani Army Chief and Commander-in-Chief and Field Marshal and the Lord of whatever he surveys, somebody who Shehbaz Sharif would address as Sipah Salar. Sipah Salar means really Mahasenapati or not even Commander-in-Chief, something more than that. He promised a group of overseas Pakistanis on June 16 during his visit to Washington that Pakistan has trillions and trillions of dollars worth of critical minerals opportunity. And if the Americans come and invest there, they can earn up to $15 billion per year. Now, country like America, I'd say $15 billion per year is not such a large bone to chew at. Nevertheless, Nevertheless, Donald Trump has an obsession with critical minerals and he has an obsession with deals. He wants to show a victory every day and create a headline every day and write a long Truth Social post of the kind that you saw he wrote after his deal with Vietnam. Pakistanis are promising the same kind of success. So as far as tributes are concerned, one is the crypto promise, which is now, which is that we've set up a crypto council. Never mind that Pakistan's central bank, their equivalent of the Reserve Bank, does not yet approve crypto as a legal currency. Yet they say that Pakistan can be a hub for crypto mining. We are allocating 2,000 megawatts of power to it because we are a power surplus country. Second, you come in, sign joint ventures with us. And Asim Munir said this in an earlier speech, at a Pakistan Mines and Minerals Conference, I think 8th and 9th of April, just after weeks after the Jafar Express incident. And he said, all of you come and invest in our mineral wealth. Pakistan Army will protect you and will make sure you come to no harm. That promise is the second part of the tribute. In fact, just this week, the Pakistani Air Chief Marshal Zahir Ahmad Babar Sidhu, he's also in Washington and he's met a bunch of interesting people, and one of them is a man called Eric Mayers. Eric Mayers is interesting. He in State Department looks at the South and Central Asia Bureau, right? He was in Pakistan on April 8 and 9 to attend that Mines and Minerals Conference as well. And he's been quoted as saying that critical minerals are very important. Everybody knows how strategically important they are. And this is an area where we can cooperate to our mutual benefit, and we can do it sustainably. We can extract this responsibly, etc., etc. So this is again operating at a professional to professional level. Pakistan's Air Chief meeting this bureau head in the State Department who's dealing with South and Central Asia. Is not a very high official, but he's somebody who the Pakistanis conjured to get into their Mines and Minerals Conference. And by the way, they organized a Mines and Minerals seminar or discussion in partnership with the American Embassy in Pakistan. It was a virtual conference, and it was deemed important enough for the State Department to put an invitation or the announcement to that conference on their website as well. Check it out on your screen. The third thing is flattery. And flattery is very simple. Flattery is, we have already recommended you, we have already nominated you for the Nobel Prize, and we'll keep on repeating it again and again and again, that the only reason the fighting between India and Pakistan stopped was because you got us to stop. Us as in India and Pakistan, so they're dragging India in there also. And while India keeps on saying, no, we stopped because the Pakistanis requested us to stop, right? Otherwise, we would not have stopped. There was no reason for us to stop. Every time India says that, it will be projected by the Pakistani side as India denying Trump credit that Trump thinks is his own. Trump thinks this is one of his 7 claims to the Nobel Prize for bringing about peace. And maybe this is number 2 or number 3, or maybe number 2 after Iran and Israel. Iran and Israel would have gone up. Otherwise, he would have put this on top. He wanted peace in Ukraine to be up there. Maybe when that happens, if it happens, he'll make it the 8th claim to Nobel Prize. The 7th, by the way, was that Congo-Rwanda accord that took place last week, about which also we spoke in a Cut the Clutter. Now this is the combination of one tribute now, one tribute in the future, because these mines, even if Americans come into the same mine which exists now, Reko Diq, which can yield some copper and some gold, however, there are no smelters yet. That was one of the reasons why that deal broke, because Pakistan and Australia signed this agreement whereby mining started. So the Chilean firm came in, Australians must have had some investment. That's why this was subject to Pakistan-Australia bilateral investment treaty. And the Canadians came in, Pakistan was not able to deliver on its own side of the bargain for the simple reason that Balochistan, the government and the people and public opinion all said that you can do this, but you have to set up the smelters and factories in here, in Balochistan, so jobs are created here. Otherwise, it's just an extractive industry where you take out the ore and take it overseas and set up the smelters and factories there. Now, I cannot help but take a very tiny digression. All this is going on in our neighboring country with a very small, struggling economy. While our country, with our promising, growing economy, which actually needs so much copper, shut down one of our own biggest copper smelter plants in Thoothukudi in Tamil Nadu several years ago, it is still lying locked up. We are not willing to even pay attention to it. So I'm mentioning this, I'm making this digression just to tell you how strategically important these elements have become now and how callous we can be very often with this aspect. And that is the reason a country like Pakistan, which should punch maybe in a weight category 6 levels lower than India's, something like light flight weight compared to India's light heavyweight. I'm not saying heavyweight or super heavyweight, right? They are able to punch so far above their weight because they are willing to offer deals and they are willing to cut through all red tape. See what's happened in Pakistan. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but we have to understand what's happened because that is what India is up against. Pakistan set up under Asim Munir. Under Asim Munir means since he became army chief, Pakistan set up an organization called SIFC, which is Special Investment Facilitation Council. Sounds innocuous enough. Except then you see who heads it. It's co-chaired. It's not number one, number two. It's been co-chaired. It was long before Asim Munir got his 5th star. It's been co-chaired by the Prime Minister of Pakistan and the Army Chief of Pakistan. That brings the powers that be, that brings real heft to this organization. This organization has become a bit like the NSA used to be in the UPA era, except everything NSA said was then debated, discussed. Manmohan Singh was able to dilute many things. I will not say that Asim Munir is to Pakistan what Sonia Gandhi was to UPA. No, that was a very different arrangement. There are some similarities though. This SIFC now, unlike the NAC in India, which was still advisory with a clout, in this case, SIFC actually can get things done using its clout. So SIFC gave its advice for the passage of 2 laws. These are the laws in the 2 states which have minerals in Pakistan or which supposedly have minerals in Pakistan. That is the Balochistan Mines and Minerals Act, which was passed on March 12 this year, and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Mines and Minerals Act, which was moved on 4th of April this year, just this year. What does this act do? This gives the federal government, central government, the power over minerals in these states. Balochistan is a government of the ruling alliance, such as the ruling alliances, so they've passed this law. Whereas Khyber Pakhtunkhwa has the government of Imran Khan's party, still they haven't passed this law. They made some amendments. They want more amendments. It's there, but when the army wants it done, it will be done. So Pakistan's promise to the Americans in this case is that we can cut through all this crap, all this noise and clutter that you might face in dealing with a country like India. We told you just in the earlier episode how much trouble India is having just on the question of a few $1 billion worth of agricultural imports from the US, and those are imports that India actually needs because there is so much politics in India about GM technology, biotechnology. The Pakistanis say we'll cut through all of that and we'll buy cotton from you, we'll buy soybean from you. How much can Pakistan buy, right? We'll buy edible oils from you. We'll buy crude oil from you. That is fuel because we buy from overseas. In any case, we'll give you mining concessions, cutting through all the red tape and all the questions. We will give you security. Pakistani army guarantees you your security. We will continue to be allies. Pakistan is still designated a major non-NATO ally in the fight against terrorism, that is terrorism emanating from the west of Pakistan. terrorism that happens from Pakistan eastwards into India, Pakistan wants to be left free of any interference from the Americans. But we will help you. We will make sure that our terrorists are of no threat to you, and we'll help you fighting them in Afghanistan and elsewhere. So this is a package that the Pakistanis are offering now. Now, Pakistani army chief, as we know, has just been there. He had his lunch with President Trump. Now, Financial Times, Hamza Jalani reports in the Financial Times that he was also presented a MAGA hat and keys to the White House, which is very ceremonial. I'm sure he can dine out on it for the rest of his life. That is, if he has the rest of his life in peace, because as I keep saying again and again, a dictator in Pakistan goes one of three ways: in exile, in jail, or assassinated/executed, which is a judicial assassination, or all of the three. Two of the three, all of the three, there is no other future. A dictator in Pakistan, particularly a uniformed dictator in Pakistan, does not have the option of retiring and going home to play golf or maybe even preaching in a mosque. It doesn't happen like that. That said, he is now moving this policy with great energy. And I did not say it lightly that this is like a small feudal dealing with a big feudal, because everything that's happening around this place is feudal. Now, I told you Bilal bin Saqib is the crypto minister in Pakistan, whose government signs an MOU with for World Liberty Financial, where he is an advisor. Bilal bin Saqib is not poorly connected in Pakistan. His dad-in-law, he's married well. His dad-in-law is Corps Commander Peshawar. So that means immediate access to the army chief. That's how it started, and that's how it got such a head start. Then World Liberty Financial is founded by the son of Steve Witkoff, who's the closest real estate buddy of Trump's from New York, and now his special envoy in the most important parts of the world. Then Bilal bin Saqib, when he goes to America to speak at a crypto conference, he also visits the White House. And who does he meet there? He meets a young man also called Brandon Lutnick. Who's Brandon Lutnick? Brandon Lutnick also has interest in crypto. He's also the chair of a big finance company called Cantor Fitzgerald. And by the way, his second name, I'm sure, has already suggested to you. He is the son of Howard Lutnick, who's the Commerce Secretary of America, under whose watch all these trade deals are going to be signed. So just as Trump has made a feudal system around himself, his son, Witkoff's son, in this case, Lutnick's son, the Pakistanis have produced a famous son-in-law. And Pakistanis are now working through this generation in the American Trumpian feudal structure. That is what India needs to look at very, very closely, because you can always pour contempt in this. And you will say, oh, a country like Pakistan only can do it. Why would a country like India ever do it? Of course, a country like India will never do it. But this is not something which you can ignore, particularly because by now the whole world knows how Trump operates.